Shifting focus now to the global airline industry, it is stabilizing. According to data from the International Air Transport Association, airlines managed to maintain a steady net profit margin of minus 1.1% in the first quarter. This represents a slight improvement from the minus 1.3% margin reported in quarter one of 2023. And this comes despite the industry facing numerous challenges, including inflation, employee strikes, aircraft delivery delays, and the grounding of certain aircraft types. And joining me now as we zoom in on Virgin Atlantic's milestones in South Africa in its 40 years in the country is the country manager for South Africa at Virgin Atlantic, Marc Harding. Thank you so much for your time and for actually joining us in studio, and happy birthday, not to you, but to the airline. 40 years in the country. Just talk to us about the milestones that you have achieved in South Africa, your contribution to South Africa and South Africa's contribution to the airline.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it is our 40th global birthday, and we've been embedded in South Africa for the last 28 years.
Okay.
So we've been part of the Virgin Atlantic family for a very long time, 3/4 of our history. And, you know, the 40th birthday just brings an element of absolute brand presence in South Africa. It's a moment for us to celebrate 40 years. It's ruby, it's fantastic, it's red, it's all about Virgin Atlantic, and it's just an absolutely brilliant time for us in our history. You know, we were started back in 1984 by Sir Richard Branson to come and disrupt the airline industry, and a lot of people didn't think we were going to make it. And 40 years on, we're still challenging the status quo, and we're still, you know, doing what we do for our customers.
And for more than half of those years, you've been in South Africa, 28 years.
That is correct.
Talk to me about the most popular routes from South Africa and to South Africa, just kind of gauging, you know, traveling appetite by South African consumers.
So we've got two routes that we operate out of South Africa. We've got Johannesburg, which is our flag route into the country, and we operate a daily flight in there, and Joburg's been on our network map for the last 28 years, as I said. And then we've got a seasonal flight where we fly into the beautiful Cape Town, and Cape Town runs from October through to March, so it's our what we call winter sun premium leisure destination. So everybody in the Northern Hemisphere comes out of those cold, long, dark months. They come down to Cape Town for the beautiful, glorious weather that we have down there. And then in Africa, we fly into Lagos, where we've been operating for 22 or 23 years now. And that also is a very, very big business hub for us on our network.
All right. I actually want to find out, because so you have, you know, the routes from Cape Town, from Johannesburg, from Lagos. Is there any possibility of an extension, particularly from any of the big countries on the African continent at any point? Is that a consideration?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what we do is we always listen to what our customers say, and we always look to see where we can grow and where we can expand, and where we can put our Virgin Atlantic presence into a market where we maybe traditionally haven't traveled before, or where we can expand and grow our presence in that market as well. So it's an ever-evolving situation, and we're always looking where we can put aircraft where it matters for us as a business.
And then obviously the most popular routes, would you say London?
Yeah, so London or the UK is our hub. So we're a British airline based out of the UK. And the US, so there is no Virgin Atlantic without the Atlantic. So the US makes up around 70% of our business. So we need to make sure that that will always be our bread and butter. And yeah, so the US is a really, really big part of our network. And we're always looking at opportunities where we can expand. But yeah, everything is based out of the UK. And then it will be UK into the US, rest of world, international markets where we travel to as well.
All right. Well, talking about bread and butter, something that consumers are struggling with at the moment. We know how constrained our consumers are, and obviously they're very price sensitive at the moment. Has that filtered through to any of the demand dynamics at any point?
So our customers that travel from the UK into South Africa, you know, South Africa is a beautiful country. It's really attractive from a rate of exchange perspective, which we love it when they bring all those foreign currencies in, because then it helps stimulate local jobs and, you know, empower local communities, which is absolutely fantastic. And we have seen prices increase, you know, as travelers resumed, you know, post the COVID pandemic. But our load factors are exceptionally high out of Johannesburg. we're sitting in the high 90s every day out of Joburg, so that people are traveling, whether it is to the UK or they're connecting onto any one of our other destinations.
So do you feel like because of that, basically consumers kind of shrug off the price sensitivity, particularly in this very tough competitive landscape where you can implement price increases but not really affect the consumer's price sensitivity?
Yeah, absolutely. So we all know London's pricey to go to.
Yes,
if you go buy a cup of coffee, you're going to take your card out.
Even to live in,
Exactly. So London is not a price-sensitive market. People travel there to go and visit family. They can go visit relatives, friends, so VFR traffic as well. So it's not a destination like an island holiday. It's got a different dynamic. People are going to see their friends. They're going to go see their family. So they're willing to pay those prices to connect with those people again.
All right. Well, let's talk about, a very important journey that the whole world and all sectors of the economy are going through, the global green energy transition.
Absolutely.
And of course the airline industry being one of the industries being called to take more responsibility when it comes to mitigating efforts on that front. Where are you on that journey as Virgin Atlantic?
So back in 2021, we drew a line in the sand and said, this is the year where we need to make change, and we are going to get to a net zero by the year of 2050. So 2021 was a real pivotal moment in our history to shift gear and focus really hard on sustainability. And we've been working with different companies, airline manufacturers, Rolls-Royce, and in 2023, November last year, we flew the first 100% sustainable aviation fuel that operated from Heathrow into New York. And it's something that we are extremely passionate about, and all of our shareholders, Sir Richard Branson, our CEO, everybody backed this plan that we had to fly this flight, where even Richard Branson was on the plane, our CEO was on the plane. That's how much belief we have in sustainable aviation fuel and the future of aviation moving in that direction. We have a very long road that we need to walk. But if we have partners that we work with and we trust what we are doing, we believe what we're doing, I do believe that the aviation sector can move in that direction to become greener. It is crazy. You're getting in a metal aircraft and you're flying thousands of kilometers, burning all of this fuel. What are we doing as an industry to help the planet in a better way? And sustainable aviation fuel is one of the avenues that would make a huge impact going forward.
Well, Marc, let's wrap up the conversation. Let's talk about the runway for the next 40 years, in particular the next 28 years in South Africa. What is the airline's growth in South Africa and the broader African continent hinge on?
So it all hinges on, obviously, economies, how the economies are behaving, passenger demand. At the moment, there's a supply-demand imbalance where we don't have enough of the supply, where the demand is really outweighing what we have. And if that continues, then obviously we would look at expanding networks, looking at different destinations, and adding capacity where we can.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and really giving us insight on the journey that Virgin Atlantic has taken globally and particularly in South Africa. That was Marc Harding from Virgin Atlantic.